It's Moms vs. Aunts, your weekly happy hour where we chop it up about trends, gossip, solo mom life, and how to level up in this crazy world. Welcome to Moms vs. Aunts. I don't know about you, Vanessa. I am so excited it's summer, and I'm so excited that we're actually going to see each other for like the first time. And I don't even know how long it's been.
I know, it's going to be amazing. So this is episode 11, but in episode 12, we are going to be in the same room, and maybe episode 13, but definitely episode 12. We're going to be in the same room, looking at each other, clinking our glasses together, recording this podcast. I cannot wait to see your face.
So I'm excited about that. I'm excited that it's just summer. We're going to get some pool time in. But what I'm most excited about is that today on Moms vs. Aunts, we have our very first guest, our very first Moms vs. Aunts guest. I'm so excited. She is someone, I think everyone knows her. And in my opinion, in my personal opinion, I think that she has achieved the ultimate rich auntie status that I aspire to be. Like everything she's done. She's a well-known reality star, and she's one of the few that was able to, I think, transition her reality star fame into like an actual like longer lasting career. So it's Trishelle from Real World.
Yay!
And I know, Vanessa, you don't even watch a lot of reality TV anymore, but you even know Trishelle.
Well, this is what I was saying when you told me that Trishelle was excited even to come on our podcast. I was like, finally, reality from when I watched reality, because I can't watch it anymore. I got kids, I'm busy. But Trishelle is from the era of reality when I actually watched The Real World and Road Rules and all those challenges. So I actually am excited that I know who this person is and I can like speak intelligently. You don't have to explain who she is to me. So yeah, I'm so excited that she'll be joining us on the show today.
Yeah. And, it's Trishelle. So I've already been following her stories, and, she's in New Orleans and she's having a lunch. It looks like a liquid lunch with her friends, on the rooftop of a brand new hotel in New Orleans. So, she's going to be joining us definitely for cocktail hour. So I think we got to get our cocktails ready for her when she gets here. So what do we got to drink today, Vanessa?
Well, I knew that she spends quite a bit of time in New Orleans, and you love New Orleans. I love New Orleans. We have done girls trips together in New Orleans. And so I was like, well, duh, this was so easy. I was like, let's just do the most quintessential classic drink that hails from NOLA, and it is the Sazerac. Duh. So if you've never had a Sazerac, like, I don't know, like what you're doing with your life. I think it's probably a little bit intimidating though. Like, just when you see like a bartender making it, they're doing a whole lot, but it's not that hard. So a Sazerac is, and it's got all this historical context. I didn't do as much research as I usually do for you with the drinks, but it does go back to like 1837, maybe 1857. But it's made with rye whiskey, 1 cube of sugar. Oh, the rye whiskey is 1.5 ounces. And 1/2 ounce of absinthe, which we'll talk about, 3 dashes of bitters, and you're going to want a lemon peel. Okay, so you are familiar with absinthe, also known as the Green Fairy.
Yes.
So have you ever had real absinthe, like overseas?
I did order a bottle and I was told it was real, but I never know.
See, I never know either. Like, I feel like I went to a bar once where someone had some type of like contraband absinthe or whatever, and I drank some, but I didn't have like the hallucinogenic like
Yeah.
vibes that they say like people have when they drink it. Like this was like an underground bar. Remember the days of New York and the underground bars like Death and Company and what was that other one on 7th Avenue? Little Branch and
Yeah.
remember all the really cool. Oh man, I
Like
used
the
to
speakeasies,
like,
yeah.
Yes, I loved that when that was kind of the vibe in New York, where you go into a place and it looked like it was a meat market in the front, but you sneak in the back and it's like a whole little sneaky bar.
Yeah.
That shit always got me. I love that. And the bartenders were like dressed like drink chefs. I love it. But anyways, so I had one where he was like a glass of absinthe where he did the whole thing and set it on fire and all of that. I still never had any sort of hallucinogenic experience. I didn't see anything weird. But that's sort of the history of absinthe. Does get you really fucked up though. That part is true. So the way you want to make a Sazerac is you are going to take a rocks glass and you're going to put it in the freezer and get it really, really nice and cold. So you got to first put your rocks glass in the freezer. Then you're going to take a sugar cube. So you got to find a sugar cube. Because who has sugar cubes? But get some for this drink. It's fun. Let's do this the real way, guys. We're not going to half-ass it. So you're going to get a sugar cube and you're going to put that at the bottom of a different glass that's not in the freezer. And you're going to just put like 3 dashes of bitters on top of the sugar cube. So that's going to dissolve the sugar, right? The bitters. And then you're going to add the whiskey into that. You're going to just kind of give that a little swirl. All right. Once the other glass is nice and chilled, really cold and frozen, you take that out of the freezer. You take about a half an ounce of the absinthe and you're going to do what's called an absinthe rinse. So you take the absinthe and you just swirl it around in the glass and discard whatever's left over. It's just a rinse. So you only need a half an ounce. You just want it to coat the inside of the glass.
Okay.
The sides of the glass. Got it. So then you just kind of, just toss out whatever's left over. And then you'll pour the sugar, whiskey, bitters concoction into the glass that has now been rinsed with the absinthe. You'll take the lemon peel, just kind of give it a little twist so that you release some of those nice lemony oils, rub that around the rim of the glass and drop it in the glass. Boom, that's a Sazerac.
That's very fancy. I like the
Very
preparation
fancy.
for that. It feels
Right?
very sexy. Yeah.
So sexy. It's like all of the things. Also, New Orleans is sexy. There's something like I've been on girls trips, but there's something about it that makes me want to like go with someone I'm really into. It's always like, it's all hot and sweaty and the drinks are good and the food is good. And you just fall into places with good music. And it just kind of feels like just the right environment for like a romance weekend. But that's just me.
It's my spirit city. It's definitely my spirit city. Like I want to be there all the time. And before lockdown, I felt like I was going at least once to twice a year. And because I just, but now it's just like, it's been so long. So this drink, maybe if I have some of this drink, I didn't make this drink. I'm still going to drink my tequila. I don't even have my normal Reposado tequila. I only have the Blanco tequila. So it is what it is. But either way, cheers.
Cheers. Cheers. To New Orleans.
To New Orleans. Yeah. And so we got New Orleans and we're going to get our New Orleans girl in here. I mean, okay. So Trishelle is someone I just became IG friends with her this year, but I feel like I've known her forever because she's been on our screens for it's almost 2 decades. I feel like that she's been on our screens. She was in Real World. She was on The Challenge. She was on Surreal Life. She was on Fear Factor. She was on Punk'd. And now, apparently she's also playing poker, which, if we can figure out how to be like badass bitches who know how to play poker, that would just add to our whole facade. So, well, not facade, but our actual personalities. But yeah, so looking forward, we're going to get into some reality tea and mention it all. Trishelle Cannatella. Okay, so it's officially Ladies Who Lunch. We have Trishelle Cannatella here for our happy hour, our Moms versus Aunts happy hour. We're so excited. Welcome, Trishelle.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited.
Thank you so much. You are our very, very first guest. This is our 11th episode, and you get to be our very first guest, so we're so excited.
I feel very honored. I mean, I'm a huge fan. I follow Talk of the Shame. Like, it's amazing.
Now, before, we obviously want to get into it because, like we talked about, I mean, for me, you are like the ideal rich auntie that I want to be. Like, you travel the world. Like, I saw you on your stories today. You're like it because you live in New Orleans now, right? That's where you live permanently?
Yeah, I live in New Orleans. Yeah.
And so
we have a beach house in Florida that we bought, and so we like rent it out for short-term rentals, but we don't get there as much as we like. So I was back there for a week. I'm actually back in New Orleans, even though I posted that I was there.
Okay.
We were there for a week. Y'all, can I just tell you about the story or no?
Yes, of course.
So I was there talking about aunties and moms. We were there with two of our couple friends, and between the two of them, had 4 boys under the age of 5.
Oh, no.
So it was 6 months, 2 years old, 3 years old, 4 years old boys.
That's too much. That's too much. That's a lot. That's a lot.
So we talked about this on a previous episode. Was it meant to be like all the kids were supposed to be there, or was it meant to be like the couples were all hanging out?
No. I actually invited all of them. No, and I wanted the kids to come as well. Because I don't know if we're digging too deep yet.
Okay. We'll hold off and then we'll dig back in. Is that what you like to do? We need a couple more drinks.
Well, because there's a whole thing like talking about moms and aunts that I would like to say about this whole
whenever
journey.
You're ready, because
yeah.
I feel a kind of way about trips, and like, I love my babies, but it's just there's a different kind of trip when you're trying to hang out with your friends, and then the trip when you bring your children.
Okay, Vanessa, how old are your kids?
2 and 7.
Okay, like, all right, that's good. At least a 7-year-old. Okay, are they both boys? Boy and
They're
girl?
both boys. Christian is 7. Sebastian is 2. Sebastian is like a maniac, but like so cute. So cute.
Do you feel like Christian is more like annoyed with Sebastian, or does he like kind of take over as like the older brother?
Christian like legit thinks that we are co-parenting. Like, he is
I love that.
Like, he is incredible. Like, he will like walk out of the room and be like, mommy, I'm going over here. Keep an eye on the baby. And I'm like, I don't work for you. You're just a kid. But I'm a solo mom, so I think like Big Brother has taken on like a whole nother role. But
That's
so
good.
Yeah.
So, okay, I wanted this trip for 2 reasons. Number one, I love my friends, and like, I do like love their kids. Obviously, they're my best friends and I want to see their kids. But my husband, y'all, wants babies more than anything in the entire world. He wants kids. But I have been on the fence. And even sometimes just to get him off my back, I've just been like, no, I don't want them at all. Now, to be honest, I'm in between the two of you.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
But just so that he doesn't question me so much, I'm just like, no, I don't want them at all. So I thought that going on this trip with all these kids would deter him from wanting children.
And so it did not?
No! He loved the chaos.
Oh my God.
Y'all, okay, he loved the chaos.
Oh no.
I know.
Plan just failed.
And the kids were actually really cute. Did they scream and get into throw fits for no apparent reason? Yes. I honestly didn't know that about, like, Vanessa, you have a 2-year-old. Why All of a sudden, everything's calm, everything's cool. They have what they want. They have their little juice thing that they're drinking out of, whatever. All of a sudden, screaming in your face, just screaming, no reason. Nothing happened. Nothing in the environment has changed.
Yeah.
Just screaming. And you're like, do you want that? Do you want that? Do you want that?
Yeah. And new moms are like, it's so hard, like when you have your first kid, because you're literally like, they can't communicate yet. So you're like, what the fuck? Are you hungry? Are you tired? Are you just fucking tell me? Just fucking tell me. I'll go get whatever you need. Just fucking, and then you're like, they don't know how to talk. So you like are just waiting until like they're like 2.5, 3, because then they can communicate and like advocate for themselves. Like that's a turning point. But yeah, for a while you're just like, what in the entire fuck just happened here?
Well, thankfully, the 2 moms I was on a trip with have it down, man. They were like really, they knew what their kids wanted. So like, the one of them was crying because he wanted a straw. And I didn't know that because I'm like, why is he crying? And I'm looking at her like, what's going on? And she was just like, oh, he wants a straw. And they were like, oh, we don't have any straws in this house. And I was like, wait, I actually randomly brought straws in my bag. So then I became like cool auntie.
Because you're the good, you're the good auntie. Yes, you would have straws.
Grabbed a straw. There you go. Stop crying. I'm the savior.
You are. That's what aunties are there for. You there to save the day. and that's honestly why, like, so Christian and I, the 7-year-old, we have the best relationship because like he thinks I'm the greatest thing. I'm like his best friend, but not his mom. And I love him because he can run errands for me. If I need a new beer or I need some ice in my cup, like it's a great relationship.
Let me ask you this. I always thought like whenever kids are old enough, it would be cool if you're just like, oh, I want my hair played with or I want a massage. Do they do that?
Totally. They so do. Oh my God. My stepson, when he was about 7 or 8, he just like comes up behind me. He's like rubbing my shoulder and then he peeks his head around and goes, how's the pressure? I was like, what? Sir?
That sounds wonderful.
Yeah, Plus, I love having boys. I mean, girls are so cute, but I love having boys.
Yeah, I think it would have been harder if there were a lot of girls in the mix. But like the boys were fine. Like the baby, he slept a lot, and then the other ones, like the older one, he was 4, so he kind of, whenever we left to go to the beach, his mom would be like, okay, you're going to be the big boy in the house. So, you have to be, she tried to, it's like reverse psychology. Like you have to be, show everyone that you're the big boy. And he was like, okay, mom, I will.
Like, got it. Here's my question. I have a question. Why do you have straws in your purse?
Lip gloss, girl. Like I was just like, we like to drink sometimes our drinks out of straws, like because of lip gloss if we were going to like be doing pictures. But then again, all the things that I brought to the beach, like we didn't use half of it because like you think that you're going to look cute on the beach. Ain't possible. Not possible.
Lip gloss. That makes so much sense. So I keep
not using
straws.
It now.
No, I keep straws in my purse too, but I keep straws in my purse because I have the metal ones. So if I go to a place where they try to give me those trash ass like paper ones that suck, then I have a metal one in my purse. But a lip gloss. Okay.
Oh, these were paper, and guess what? They put their mouth on it for 2 seconds and it's done.
Yeah, it's
have
done.
to throw it away.
Got it. Exactly. Okay.
All right, so I love that your plan sort of backfired, but you know what? Like, and I get like your hesitation because again, you have achieved this like auntie level status of like traveling the world, having these like amazing, like all of these things. And so giving that up, look, I love Vanessa's kids and I will die for them. But I think I can only take care of cats for the rest of my life in my own home. So it's a hard decision. Yeah. I get that. But like, you have done so much. I mean, I would say almost 2 decades you've been on our screens. And you, to me, are like one of those reality stars that really was able to transition from reality star and take it to this whole other career. I mean, you were on a Super Bowl commercial. I mean, not a lot of reality stars today could ever say that. Yeah. Now, before we get into reality, I do want to get into some reality. you need to settle something because there's something that went viral recently and you might be the only person who can answer it. So you were on Fear Factor, and recently there was a viral thing that was going around about how Joe Rogan is literally 5'3", and we need to know, is Joe Rogan literally 5'3"?
I saw that, and it was like, I want to say it was like trending on Twitter, and I was just like, 5'3", that's so short. I don't think that he was. I think he's more like 5'7", because I stood by him and he didn't look, when I was standing face to face with him, he didn't look that much shorter than I did. But also, Joe Rogan is such a strong personality. I was terrified of him. So he could have looked, 9 foot tall to me. I don't know.
Wait, how tall are you?
I'm 5'8".
Okay, all right. So if he's not much shorter, I've heard from some people saying like, no, I think he's like more 5'7". So okay, that settles it. He's not literally 5'3".
No,
okay.
I really don't think so. Oh, also, y'all, I don't know if you saw my our Fear Factor season that we did, but it was like with a bunch of reality TV people, right? So it was like this couple from The Amazing Race, and then let's see, Johnny from Survivor, who used to be one of my good friends, the one who lied about his grandma dying.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, that one. So anyway, they got into a fight. One of the girls from Amazing Race got into a fight with him. She punched him in the stomach. Then her husband got in a fight with Joe Rogan. We had like the craziest episode. They started wrestling, and The Miz, my partner, had to physically break them up. Y'all have to Google this. It is insane.
I'm
Googling.
Google The Miz breaking up Joe Rogan fight Fear Factor. It should show up, I'm sure. But like, it was kind of crazy. And so Joe Rogan, I mean, if he was 5'3", he got in there with The Miz, who's a professional wrestler, and like another dude who looks strong. I don't know.
That's another thing. I mean, I had totally forgotten that you had dated The Miz. And like, that was another reality star that it's like, I remember him showing up as this scrawny white guy on, was it Real World or Road Rules? And
Real World.
Real World. And he always wanted to be a wrestler. And I remember kind of making fun of like, okay, you want to be a wrestler. And then he became an actual WWE wrestler. Like, were you with him while he was in his WWE fame?
Okay, no. And y'all, I was the terrible ex-girlfriend they called me, his friends used to joke, who are my mutual friends, that I was the dream killer, because whenever he used to say that he wanted to like be, do wrestling, I was just like, oh my God, how stupid. Why don't you just go into finance, be like an accountant or something? I was like, why do you want to be a wrestler? How dumb. And so he ended up being so famous. So they were all like, Trishelle, you tried to kill his dream, but he did it anyway.
But he did it anyway, in spite of you. Well,
now he's married to this like really hot ass girl, and like, he did well, and I did well for myself. So look.
But you weren't doing anything that we weren't doing. We were all like, okay, Mike, you're gonna be everybody was saying that. Nobody thought he was gonna become The Miz with like figurines. I mean, it still blows my mind.
It blows my mind. Are you kidding me?
Wait, is he still a wrestler? Like now, even today?
Yeah, like he has like some championship title, and I know this because so whenever y'all talk about auntie, yes, I'm an auntie, but I also have great nephews and nieces, 3, because my niece had 3 children.
Oh wow!
Wow. Okay.
Welcome
you're
to
like,
Louisiana, but
no,
also
you're like, I just want you to know, Kiki, that she just trumped like auntie status. Like,
that's like, super auntie.
Yes, she's a great auntie.
My great nephew loves The Miz, and he's just like, he's amazing. And I'm like, he's all right. Like, I don't even go into detail about why. I'm just like, okay.
We talk a lot about boyfriends and ex-boyfriends and like leveling up and all that kind of stuff. Girl, you good.
Yeah.
It's all fine.
You're fine. You don't have to go to WWE.
WWE. Yeah.
But I do appreciate, like, I'm glad that, he did that career. And honestly, whenever we did Fear Factor, Miz and I were broken up. So we weren't even talking that much. However, I will say something great about him, that a lot of things I could say great about him, but one of the good things about him is that he is a very good motivational person. So like whenever I thought that I couldn't do something, he was like, you get in there and you do it and you're gonna win. And so I could see the wrestling come out of him. And you do it, okay? You're gonna be Miz. And so I was like, okay, like, I got this. Like, how do you say no to that?
I love that. Oh my God. We were actually reading through your bio, and one thing that we thought was like, oh, first of all, let me ask you, you won that season of Fear Factor, right?
We did.
Or that episode. How much did you win?
We won 90 grand each.
What? Each? That's great prize money. Holy shit.
That was a lot. Oh my God.
Well, we have,
you and Vanessa have something in common. Vanessa also won a reality show competition. So we have two reality shows.
That nobody saw, Trishelle.
Maybe I did. Tell me.
It's totally okay. Nobody has ever seen this, but I was on a show called Rocco's Dinner Party, because in real life, I'm a chef. And it was on Bravo. Rocco had one season. I love me some Rocco DiSpirito, but he always has like one season and then they always cancel him, but someone else gives him a show and then that show has a season and then it gets canceled. But he's had like multiple like one season shows. So this was a one season show called Rocco's Dinner Party, and it came out in like 2011. And I won $20,000 because I won my episode. Hey.
And you know what, Vanessa, you probably just did it for fun because you love cooking and that was like your thing. And you got to meet Rocco.
I did.
That's so cool.
I've run into him like several times in the last 10 years since that show aired. And he's always so nice. Like he's always so nice. And he always remembers me and he always asks me, are you still cooking? And then I'm like, yeah, I'm still cooking. And to him, he's just like, I've run into so many chefs over the years that like aren't cooking anymore. And it's just so great to know that you're still like doing it and doing it successfully. So he's really nice. But yeah, I won 20 grand. 90 grand would have been way better though.
Yeah.
But that's amazing. But you did something that's awesome. See, I was doing things that were terrible, like spiders on my face and like with an alligator. And like if I could cook, I would take, a tenth of that. But listen, I want to tell you, as far as chef and cooking goes, I live in New Orleans. Y'all know that. To me, whenever I meet chefs, to me, they're celebrities. I love cooking, and I always I try to take pictures. Like Alon Shaya is from, he's not from New Orleans, but like he has like 2 restaurants here. And I saw him one time in Memphis, and shamelessly I was like, "Hey, can you get a selfie with me?"
Can we get a selfie?
I did. I asked him for a selfie, and I saw that picture, and I'm like, sorry, not sorry. You're famous to me.
Speaking of perceptions, one thing that we came across in your bio that we thought was really interesting was how you were saying how when you were being casted for Real World, a lot of the producers were sort of trying to cast you as like this homophobic, racist Southern person.
Very much so.
Even like, I don't know, like I remember watching you and I remember loving you. I don't remember ever thinking those things, which is why when I rewatched you on the new Challenge All-Stars, I loved that you had that moment with Anissa where you were just apologizing for that moment. But even in that moment, I don't remember thinking those things about you. But I'm just curious, it's interesting that producers were specifically looking for that type of person to create chaos. And like now when you look at reality shows today, like, do you think that they would even do something like that knowing where we are?
Yes, I do. Okay, first off, I very much agree with that. I think that I was cast because they thought that I was going to be your stereotypical white Southern girl who was racist and who didn't, and who was homophobic, didn't know. But during my casting, there was a very handsome, this is where they made a mistake. They had a very handsome black man in casting who was interviewing me. So I was just looking at him like, he's so hot, right? And so also I told him, I said, you're the first black man I've ever been really attracted to. And he was just, why do you think that is? And I'm like, well, because I haven't met many black people. I'm from a place that, is very Southern, cut off Louisiana, the Bayou. I just didn't have that many people. Okay, Bubby. Sorry, he's just like a bit much.
Yeah.
And so I just hadn't had that experience, right? And so it was just like lack of knowledge. And it wasn't just like deciding to dislike a certain type of person, gay, black, whatever. And so I just didn't know. So whenever my very first night that I met my roommates, we had Alton, Irulan, and Arissa on our cast that were black. And then we all go around the table and we're talking about like ourselves. And then I forget how it was brought up, but I said, I just never met a black person, really. I mean, I had a few black friends, but I never really had black friends before. And like that could have went disastrous.
Yes.
I wasn't. But I think that my roommates knew that I was 21 years old, coming from a place that I'd never been west of Texas, which is true. And like I didn't really know much. And they were just like uncomfortable for a second. And I think it was Irulan that was just like, well, now you have three. Now you have three black friends.
Oh,
and
that's
so
such a
like,
good response.
oh God, yes, I know. And so there was just never an issue. In the almost 6 months of filming, there was just never an issue. I was constantly learning about, my roommates and my friends and like everyone. And they just became like my sisters and brothers, basically, just like everyone else. So I was lucky that I had the people in my house that I had, because they could have just been like, this bitch. But again, in 2002, I think back in that day, people weren't comfortable enough being like, well, this girl's privileged. She doesn't know any better. She's lived this privileged life. That wasn't like a word back then, right? Now we know, and now I think it's a little bit more spoken, and that if you still choose to be that way, then something's wrong with you. I think it's already out there. Like parents should be teaching their children about different families and everything like that, and different people. So yeah, I think that I was just lucky with who I was in the house with, that they taught me a lot.
Well, you're lucky what you had that cast. And then I think you're also lucky that you had the producers that you had, because I would think that the producers might have also now been trying to like get to the other cast members. Like, well, did you hear when Trishelle said, well, didn't you think when she said, and like getting in their
they
ear.
Did. No, they did.
Still the cast members were like blowing them off. They were like, whatever.
They knew my heart. Like
that's amazing.
They knew that I was like not that. I was not racist. I was very curious. I was curious to get to know everyone, and they could tell that I wasn't like, oh, I've already met like people like this and I don't like them, or I've already met a gay person, I don't like it, whatever. And we didn't have a gay person in our cast, but like they knew where my heart was. So it just never was a thing, because it wasn't a thing.
That's like so cool. I mean, I remember like this was the cast that we would talk. We would have long talks about when we watched Real World after every episode. Vanessa and I felt like we talked about it a lot. It was like one of the sexiest casts, right? It was Vegas, which we loved.
Everyone was gorgeous.
And everyone was like gorgeous. I just feel like we're around so many gorgeous people. And I just feel like we've been around gorgeous people. Like you were on Punk'd, which had Ashton Kutcher. You were on, obviously, The Challenge, TJ Lavin. Two people that I think are super sexy. Are they as sexy in real life as I see them on TV? Or...
Oh, TJ is very hot. He's
so
very good looking. Very, very good
Although
looking.
I have to say,
cool.
I'm not loving his hair on the reboot of The Challenge. Like he's got it like slicked all the way back, like from the front. And I don't know why he's doing that. Why is he doing that? I'm like, you're so hot. You don't have to do that.
I think that he thinks that's like a throwback or something. I don't know. Like, but like, yeah, no, he
looks like Pat Riley. I don't like it.
He's so good looking in person. But Ashton was very hot. I had like the biggest crush on Ashton Kutcher. And then whenever I got punked, I was like, oh my God, like this is crazy.
Was he single then? Did you go on a date?
Am I asking you this question?
That was like a pause.
Hey.
I wouldn't exactly call it a date.
Okay, I love this because like I saw a meme today that was like, My goal is to sleep with somebody that requires an NDA. Like, you didn't need an NDA because you were already famous, but I'm like, that is my level of like, I want to sleep
I never
with somebody.
signed an NDA, period. Period. And honestly, I never would have. If I would be like, do you want to sign an NDA to get in this vagina? Like, what's your problem?
Exactly. Like, you were on your shit like that. You were at the top. Yeah, he needed to sign the NDA.
Like, sorry, you might be doing punks, but yeah.
So now I need to know, like, what is his size? Like, is he packing? Oh my God, not the long pause. Oh my God.
I love this messy show.
You know, he's married, so like obviously he's made. Oh, he's been married twice, actually, right? So he's obviously made two people happy. So good for him.
He's made two. That is an answer. That's an answer.
That's an answer.
I love it.
And cheers to that.
Cheers to that. Cheers to having an answer. I love it.
I know that our listeners, we all heard it, and it was just the classiest answer. I love this messy interview so much.
So if you're not doing reality TV, like, so do you do professional poker? I read that you're a poker player. Yeah. So is that what you do to like in your off season, or do you do that all the time, or do you do it when you want?
So I was playing poker. God, I was doing really well when I was in Los Angeles playing poker. But then Black Friday happened, which is something that happened a long time ago. And it was like, they call it Black Friday in the poker world because it was like when everything shut down, right? And normally like, that's like a good thing. It's like when all the deals are happening, like on some sites or whatever. Yeah. No, it's like when everything was like banned from online poker was like done in the United States. And I lost my poker sponsorship deal, which I had. And it was just like everything was shut down. And so it was like dark. So like you had to freaking, all of our money online that we had made in poker, like on different sites and everything was completely frozen. It was seized by the government. So people had millions of dollars. I didn't have millions of dollars, but I had some money. People
I had like $13.
I love that you even know. I love that you have some. People had millions of dollars in accounts that could not get them back. Like they couldn't get their money back because it was seized by the government because they were deemed it all illegal. So
get out!
No, seriously. But I could still play live tournaments, and I was starting to do that again, but then COVID happened, and so now it's like, however, the World Series of Poker, instead of, normally it happens during the summer, it starts in like June, and it goes into August. Now it's going to be starting like in August and going into November. So I'm going to go to Vegas and play some of those events.
Oh, well then we're meeting you in Vegas. Fuck that. We are coming.
Yes.
Come to Vegas. Come to Vegas.
Oh my God, Trishelle, you are now the fourth pretty girl that I know who like low key is very good at poker. Like,
who else do you know? I love that.
Oh, well, just like good friends of ours who like play. I mean, and I've been to Vegas with, I've been to Atlantic City with. Kiki and I have been known to frequent the casinos. We absolutely love, we just love the whole vibe of gambling. And
I learned poker during quarantine and I haven't really played much. So I'm like, I want to like start playing again. I want to be like one of those badass chicks who plays poker. Like, it's just so cool.
Kiki, how did you learn? What did you do to learn?
Like, they just had, like, the house I was quarantined in, it was 5 of us, and they had a poker set, and so we would just play poker. There was nothing else to do, so we played poker every night.
That's amazing.
And we would play not for much money, but enough that it kept us motivated to want to win. But, okay, you talked about LA. I also, before we get to this, I want to ask about, you said you dated a lot of people. Okay, so now I have to ask about CT. Did you ever get to date CT? Because I just think he's not. No? Okay, because he is.
Well, like I was friends with DM too.
Oh, so. Okay. So that would have been weird. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. But you said you lived in LA. So I know there was a lot, because when you said Black Friday, I actually went to like when there was like a whole shutdown of underground poker tournaments. And I was just curious, like, I know that's like a big thing in LA. Have you been sitting, like, you don't have to admit anything, but like, if you had ever been to an underground poker tournament.
I have.
Who would have been in the room with you? Okay, so you have like, would you?
Mark Wahlberg.
Ooh.
And is he okay?
Yes.
Is he as hot? I mean, I know he's hot in person.
So
Yes.
He's problematic,
Like
but hot.
beyond. Like
so hot.
Like
so okay, can we just
beyond.
say Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch was the first concert I ever went to when I was in middle school.
Really?
I was in middle school.
That's
was
way
in middle
cooler than
school.
mine. I begged my
Yes.
mama that I could go to like a New Kids on the Block or something. She said no. But my first concert was like, I was like 16 and it was Candlebox. So my dad was like, my dad was like smoking pot with the people behind us. And I was like, what's happening? Like, oh my God. It was just like the weirdest like time of my life.
Ooh, Mark Wahlberg.
I wanted to ask Kiki.
Yes.
I want to know what made you start this wonderful Instagram, this hilarious, like, where do you get this from?
It was
This is a great question.
accident. Yeah, I mean, it was an accident. Like, it was quarantine, right? Like, I was doing nothing and I started doing TikTok and ended up going viral on TikTok. And I really I didn't use Instagram for anything other than to just like stare at stupid pictures of like whatever.
Yeah.
But I was like viral on TikTok for all of these, like, I was spilling tea, I guess.
Because
and,
you're
like,
hilarious. You're amazing.
And so I just like, I just brought it over to Instagram just because I realized I was like, there's a following there too. And they're not even getting to share all the things I'm sharing on TikTok. So It was really just that. I just like, and I'm a Bravo girl. And obviously I wanted to mention it all. And I've always been a gossip girl. I mean, look, my magazines that would show up to my house would be like Bop, Teen Beat, Tiger Beat. Like when I was a kid, I was already like, who can I gossip about? And then it just went on from there. YM, then it's like
too,
People, then it's
YM.
Us Weekly, and then
YM.
YM. But Kiki is a pop culture encyclopedia, Trishelle. Like,
So
she is a encyclopedia. She knows everything that has ever happened in pop culture from like the 80s, 90s, and beyond. It's insane. She remembers everything.
Okay, so Kiki, I have to say this too. I think that it's smart because, TikTok. Yeah, like I like to scroll through TikTok, but like I'm 41. Like I know I'm not like super old, whatever, but I'm not like good with TikTok. I'm really not. I'm not gonna like post a lot of videos. However, I love you and like Bravo and Cocktails. Like these are like my places that I like to go that I'm just like, it makes me feel very, calms my anxiety because I get to see all these hilarious things and I'm just like, yes. I'm just like, it makes me feel good. I love it so much.
I love that.
No, seriously.
I love that. Like, I'm like, all of these hours I'm spending is like actually helping people. It like, I'm like, sometimes I'm like, am I just doing this for myself? Because I enjoy it.
No, you're not. You're not. I absolutely love it. I think it's incredible. And I think it's smart. Like, I always wonder that. I'm just like, I think all of these things. And like, how is someone else saying like all these things that I'm internalizing? And I'm just like, it's better for me to just like watch you do it. And I'm like, yeah, that's funny. It's very funny.
Trishelle, I feel like we have to like do a part 2 because there's so many things that you need to spill even more.
We haven't even talked about Bravo. I hate this.
Oh my God, Trishelle, you're so fucking dope. I love you so much. I already loved you
love y'all.
from afar on IG, and now I love you. I feel like we're besties now, whether you want it or not.
You guys, this was so fun. This was great. I love the back and forth. I just want to tell you, I think this was amazing. Y'all have something going.
I had so much fun.
Thank you, Trishelle. Thank you so much.
We will see you again.
Okay, Kiki, that anti-life lives.
Yes, anti-life.
Bye, y'all. Love you, girls.
okay, now that we know that clearly we need to figure out how to get to Vegas and become professional poker players so we can make like $30,000 in like one tournament, Vanessa, like, help us. What is our hustle?
So I knew Trishelle was coming on, and I knew that she had competed in a couple poker tournaments. So I went online and did a little bit of research. Now, what is so funny is that she said the most she's ever won in a tournament was $30,000. And she like poo-pooed on that. She was like, just a little something, which BT dubs, $30,000 would be like amazing if I won $30,000 real quick. But
it was more than your reality TV show winnings.
Hello, I won $20,000 on my reality show winnings. But so, you know, just really quickly, you and I love the casino. So this week's hustle is all about the casino. Clearly, I will say this as a disclaimer. This is not like a real hustle. Guys, this is not something that you should look at as a way to make money. It is gambling. It is 1000% not set up for you to succeed. But I did want to talk a little bit about gambling, people who have made money in gambling, and just a few little tidbits. So this will be quick. When you walk into the casino, you will first notice the slot machines, which they're meant to like, you know, engage you with lights and sounds and all of that. Please know off the top that slot machines inherently are how the house, aka casino, makes money. I don't care if it's the Wheel of Fortune one that you love. The slot machine is not how you're going to make any money. Avoid the slot machines. The best way to make money is actually card counting, which is kind of crazy. Card counting is...
Isn't that illegal though?
It's actually not illegal. It is frowned upon. Oh. So card counting is in the game of blackjack. You can kind of figure out what's going on there. There's tons of books online, offline that you can learn. It's a skill that you can learn. But when you go into a casino, you don't want to go really, really hard with like the card counting, because as they figure out that you're card counting, the casino will and has the right to ask you to leave. So
I think that happened to Ben Affleck.
In real life?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, wow. Yeah, so like card counting is like a real thing. It's not illegal. It is frowned upon. But I did want to talk a little bit about sports betting. So when we were talking to Trishelle, she was saying how like her money got frozen when she was, you know, sponsored with an online, she would not let up who her online poker sponsorship was with. So I have to like Google it. But she was saying that like the courts came down and froze all of the money that she had made, and she never did get access back to it. But several years ago, there was like a landmark Supreme Court case that determined that sports betting was legal, which is why we were having that discussion about how poker should be deemed a sport, because it's not just the luck of the draw. There is strategy and a little bit of knowledge behind it, which I totally agreed with her on that. So sports betting became legal just, I think it was like maybe 4 or 5 years ago. There is a movie on Showtime called Action. I don't know if you watched it. It's a 4-part documentary series. I loved it. Oh my God, I watched the whole thing. I absolutely loved it. The way they Showtime described it was a 4-part docuseries that explores the legalization of sports gambling and its evolving impact on the gambling community as the industry navigates a landmark Supreme Court ruling that lifted the ban on sports betting. It chronicles the lives of professional gamblers, bookies, and odds makers throughout the 2018 NFL season. So it came out in like 2019. I thoroughly enjoyed it. You should watch it. There's one of the people that they follow is like this woman. She's super dope. But like, it's still like sports betting, right? So I got like curious. I went online. There were so many conflicting websites that tried to tell you like who the top 10 or the top 5 or the top 20, like, you know, gamblers are or whatever. I kind of just like looked across all of the different ones and picked out what I sort of found. So all of them pretty much said the same for the number one. So all of them said Billy Walters was like the number one. Billy Walters is this like older guy. He's like just like an all-around gambler. This guy spent tons of money, not just in Vegas, but also in real estate, in the financial markets, like the stock market. Anything that you could bet money on, he bet money on, like for like 40 years.
Yeah.
So over the course of 40 years, this guy made $300 million.
Wow.
So on pretty much every single list, he's pretty much number one.
Wow.
So between the stock market, sports gambling, real estate, everything, he made a ton of money. However, this mofo decided at some point he was going to do some stock trading where he got some insider information. And in the end, it didn't end up really winning for him because he was found guilty of insider trading. He was fined $10 million and he was sentenced to 5 years in prison, and he is due out next year. The man is like 75 years old and he's in jail. So that didn't work out well for him.
Sounds like he can get a movie deal, though.
Guy.
Sounds like he's had an interesting life. He'll probably get a movie. Sign his rights.
That would totally be a movie deal. There was another guy named Parlay Pats who was 18 who made about $1 million over the course of 2 months doing these like parlay bets. But then he got crazy because he was betting on like college sports, like basketball and football and stuff. And then like when people would lose the games, he would get all fucking irritated and start like sending people death threats and like berating them and like threatening them on social media. So that didn't work out for him. So he's also out the game. Tons of famous people who were well-known gamblers. Michael Jordan was a well-known gambler. Ashton Kutcher, like, what's the likelihood? We were literally just talking about Ashton Kutcher, which, by the way, that was like, I'm like, oh my God. I loved that. Yeah. But anyway, Ashton Kutcher is a very well-known gambler. He likes to say that he uses like math and science behind his strategies. He's also taken it to a whole nother level and invested in like online gaming. So he's a huge investor in a company called Unicorn. So he's like doing it on a whole nother level. Like, so he's like invested in online sports gambling. And then I don't know if you watch Jeopardy. You know, my mom loves Jeopardy. And I also like, I feel like growing up in Black households, like
it's just on,
the Jeopardy, Jeopardy, Wheel of Fortune, 7 to 8 o'clock. Like I don't know a Black house where Jeopardy and Wheel of Fortune between 7 and 8 is not happening.
Yeah.
So there was a guy named James Holzhauer who was already a successful, like his job, like when Alex Trebek introduced him, it was like James Holzhauer, like professional gambler in Vegas. So the guy had already won like a couple $1 million being a professional gambler in Vegas. He goes on Jeopardy. He has a 32-game winning streak and won $2.5 million on Jeopardy. So he's also like a pretty famous guy. He used a lot of the same strategies that he used in Vegas to win on Jeopardy. So whatever. But all of this to say that like gambling is not a real hustle that I am promoting for you guys. But I just thought it would be fun to talk a little bit about since we did have Trishelle on the show. And she's like low-key a good poker player. So, but yeah, anything over $5,000, guys, you're getting taxed 24%. They're giving you wage earnings. This is considered other income. And 9 times out of 10, you're not going to win any money. So it's not a real hustle, but it is just interesting to talk about. Anyway, so that's the hustle of the week.
I love it. And it's just, yeah, all I know is between this episode, I am starving. I have not eaten. And all we talked about was New Orleans, where my favorite food is. So I am starving. I want to drive. And I want to get in my car and drive immediately to Vegas. And start at a slot machine, even though you told me not to. I just want to pull one of those levers and just feel it and go to a buffet. That's what I want to do right now after this episode. That's all I want. It's like, and we've been drinking. And like this is why I'm making bad decisions because we decided to just drink all for, 2 hours and then talk about gambling and food. So, size, which was amazing. I love it.
Yes. Yes. All right. We'll be right back with the cool down. Oh my God. So I know that really it was just me. I wanted you to use this week's cool down for the Shade Awards. That was my request last week. But yeah, we're not going to be able to do that this week. It's still going to happen though. You promised. So it's still going to happen. But anyways, I don't really care because I always love the cool down. What do you have for us this week, Kiki?
Well, this one I really love because I, of course, you as a chef always want your opinion on these sorts of things. So I guess the other day it was National Mac and Cheese Day, which didn't realize because I totally would have been eating mac and cheese all that day. And Van Leeuwen, ice cream that, everyone loves, Van Leeuwen, celebrated Mac and Cheese Day by announcing their limited edition Kraft macaroni and cheese flavor. So it was available at Van Leeuwen locations and on the website for $12 a pint. And obviously people were like, this is crazy. But one of the reviewers at Eater, which, we always look at Eater as a very reputable food mag. Amy McCarthy said she tasted it and it works. This is what she said. She said, upon taking the first bite, I was hooked. Half of the pint had disappeared by the time I looked up, and I have no regrets. The cheese powder combines with Van Leeuwen's rich base, made with milk, cream, and sugar to produce a buttery flavor that's only slightly cheesy. It doesn't exactly evoke a bowl of macaroni and cheese in terms of texture, thankfully, but the flavor is strikingly similar. It's lightly funky and more complex than the classic blue box dinner. It's one of those foods that's so uniquely compelling that you're going to be confused while eating it, but definitely won't want to stop.
No, thank you. It's gonna be a hard no for me. No. Just no. So she is basically saying that they actually used the powder that comes in the Kraft mac and cheese, that fluorescent-y, yellow, orangey. Is that what color it is? Can
That's
you see
what
it?
Sounds like. Yeah, I mean, when I look at the picture, that is absolutely the color it is.
This is so not a good thing. I mean, I get it, right? So they're coming up with some sort of promo or gimmick because it's going to garner press, which is why they did it. But Van Leeuwen, you ain't got to do that. You guys are already, first of all, it's summer. It's got to be high season for you. Van Leeuwen has been winning in their market, in their space, because they have all those vegan flavors. I'm a ice cream aficionado, and they're not my favorite, I have to say. Not talking shit. They have good ice cream, but I feel like at some point they realized that their key demographic was a lot of vegans, and they really started putting a lot into those vegan flavors. And they have always a line. They have multiple locations in New York City. So I'm super down, but this one's just going to have to be a no for me. I'm funny about cheese though. I don't like cheese and seafood together.
Except that one time you had it when you did like it.
When did I like it?
There was one time that I had ordered a dish and you weren't convinced that it was good. I can't remember what it was, but it was like seafood. It wasn't like a cheesy seafood, but it had cheese in it and you were pleasantly surprised that one time.
Ooh, you're going to have to remind me, because every time they like to throw in a shrimp Alfredo or whatever, I'm just funny with cheese mixed with my seafood. And now you want to throw cheese into my ice cream. It's going to be a no for me. On top of the food coloring, on top of all of the But good for them.
The thing I find also ironic is like when I'm looking at the packaging, you should pull up the picture. You should just Google it just so you can see the packaging. It's like it has a blue label, just like the Kraft macaroni and cheese. And it says Kraft macaroni and cheese flavored French ice cream. So I guess Van Leeuwen, like all of their ice creams are French, which I don't think I had realized, but I guess it's French ice cream. But I just find it ironic that like the most American thing ever, macaroni and cheese, has met French, who like I feel like despise so much of American food culture into one container. But here's the thing. Okay, remember when you lived in Atlanta? We went to, I don't remember the name of the ice cream shop. I mean, this was early 2000s. And we had it was a vanilla ice cream that had bits of cheese and pine nuts and honey in it. And to this day, I don't know if you remember it, but it was the best ice cream I have ever had. And I've never been able to find that ice cream ever. I don't even know if it was just something made, but bits of cheese, if it's like an artisanal, I think, type of cheese, can be great in ice cream, right?
So here's the thing. I will never forget that ice cream. Yes, it was delicious. And it had the tiny, tiny amounts of like a goat cheese. So now you're talking about like a soft, creamy cheese. So yes, you can do things with like mascarpone, which is technically a cheese, creme fraiche, which is technically a cheese, ricotta, even a little goat cheese. I'm down. Like you can get creative with that. And it was delicious. And it did have the toasted pine nuts and the honey. I do remember the ice cream. I cannot remember the ice cream store. But Kraft macaroni and cheese powder mixed in with like a rich vanilla ice cream, it's still going to be a no for me.
Fair. Okay, well, hopefully we are going to like put together the Shade Awards for you very soon. So we'll do that on an upcoming episode. But thank you for joining us. Thank you, Trishelle, for joining us. So much fun with you. And, you know, don't forget to follow us, obviously, on IG at The Talk of Shame and at Vanessa Kantov. And as always, we will see you next week.
See you next week.
Moms vs. Aunts is brought to you by CafeMom. Our theme music is composed by Coney Island Music. We want to hear from you. To give us your comments, leave us a voicemail at 929-265-0277, and we might include them in the show. You can also reach us by email at momsvaunts@gmail.com. Remember to rate, review, and follow Moms vs. Aunts wherever you get your podcasts. And for more parenting stories, real talk, and entertainment news, go to cafemom.com.